Iran is moving fast, tearing down and sanitizing a bombed nuclear site in northern Tehran before inspectors can get in. Satellite images show a cleanup that experts say is meant to erase evidence of weapons work, just as UN inspectors return and Europe prepares to reimpose sanctions. The stakes are rising. Israel's strikes didn't kill Iran's nuclear program, and another war may only be a misstep away. Iran has launched a rapid cleanup at a nuclear-related site in northern Tehran, struck by Israeli airstrikes. According to a research group, the effort is likely aimed at removing evidence of possible nuclear weapons development. Satellite images reveal what they call a significant push by Iran to quickly demolish damaged structures, an attempt, they believe, to sanitize any trace of secret nuclear research. The Institute for Science and International Security focuses on stopping the spread of nuclear weapons and is headed by David Albright, a former UN nuclear inspector. Iran's embassy to the United Nations has not yet commented on the report. Tehran denies seeking nuclear weapons and repeatedly has said its program is for peaceful purposes. The report on the Moideh site comes as the UN nuclear watchdog holds ongoing talks in Tehran on restarting inspections disrupted by the 12-day war between Israel and Iran and the June 22nd US strikes on the country's 3 main nuclear facilities. Meanwhile, the Financial Times reported on August 27th that another round of conflict with Iran could erupt because military strikes failed to eliminate its nuclear program.
There could be another cycle of conflict because the military operations have not resolved anything. There's debate about how severely the nuclear facilities have been damaged, but it's not so damaged that the program is destroyed.
The Financial Times wrote that although Israeli and US strikes severely damaged Iran's nuclear facilities, its program has not been destroyed. The report added that the longer there is no diplomatic solution, the greater the risk of renewed conflict. At the same time, the Commander-in-Chief of the Iranian Army, Major General Amir Hatami, said in Tehran that Iran must become more powerful to protect its sovereignty. In such a world, we have no path but to grow stronger. We need a powerful army to protect our nation. Earlier, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said Iran will expand future conflicts across new geographic, political and economic fronts if attacked again. His remarks followed comments by Defense Minister Aziz Nasirzadeh, who said Iran now possesses a more advanced generation of missiles and claimed Iranian strikes became more accurate as the June war progressed. He said Israel's missile defense systems failed to intercept most Iranian missiles by the end of the conflict. However, political figures quoted by the Financial Times offered differing perspectives on how Iran's leadership should respond to the fallout from the June war. Mohammad Ali Abtahi, a former vice president, said Tehran faces a growing disconnect with society. There's a 20-year gap between the people's demands and the system. Abdollah Momeni, a longtime political activist, said the war undermined the state's credibility as a security guarantor. With this war, the only thing they had left security was lost. Momeni is one of the more radical public voices of dissent inside the republic. Long-simmering social and economic grievances have bubbled back to the surface. The economy, strangled by US sanctions, remains in a dire state, with inflation hovering above 35%. Worsening water and electricity shortages have twice in the past 3 weeks caused the government to declare public holidays for Tehran province, home to more than 14 million people. And in a country that boasts some of the world's largest oil and gas reserves, electricity outages have forced government offices to close in the afternoon. Even hardliners appear to accept that the leadership has at least to show more of what conservatives describe as tolerance towards the populace, as the war brought home the risks of social unrest at a time of conflict. In a move that would heighten tensions between the West and Tehran, the UK, France and Germany are preparing to trigger a UN process to reimpose sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. According to the Financial Times, the decision comes after foreign ministers of the three nations, known as the E3, told Iranian officials at a meeting in Istanbul last month that they were willing to extend a UN sanctions deadline if Tehran restarted talks with the US and resumed cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency before the end of August. Triggering the snapback process, a mechanism contained in the 2015 nuclear accord that Tehran signed with world powers, on August 28th would lead to the reimposition of UN sanctions after a 30-day countdown, unless there is a significant diplomatic breakthrough. However, Iran's deputy foreign minister has warned that if 3 European countries move to trigger international sanctions at the United Nations, progress towards resuming the work of nuclear inspectors would be thwarted. Kazem Garibabadi added that France, Germany and the United Kingdom are not authorized to invoke provisions of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, a 2015 nuclear deal, since they are no longer active participants in the agreement. If the snapback mechanism is activated, the current path with the IAEA will be affected and halted. Iran said this week that inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency had re-entered the country after being barred amid a 12-day war with Israel in June. However, no agreement has yet been reached on the resumption of their work. Rafael Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, told reporters on August 27th at the end of a 2-day visit to Washington that Iran is legally obligated to allow inspections to resume and that they should begin as soon as possible. Earlier, Grossi told Fox News on August 26th that the first team of IAEA inspectors is back in Iran, but that the agency was still discussing how to resume inspections.
Now the first team of IAEA inspectors is back in Iran, and we are about to restart. Of course, when it comes to Iran, as you know, there are many facilities. Some were attacked, some were not. So we are discussing what kind of modalities, practical modalities, can be implemented in order to facilitate the restart of our work there.
Grossi also said that the agency wants to visit all of the sites that are relevant, including the main nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz and Isfahan, hit by the US, and to account for Iran's stock of more than 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to near weapons-grade purity.